This is Brett Roer, CEO of Amplify and Elevate Innovation, and welcome to this week's edition of The Plug at the M211 podcast. Rebecca, how are you doing today?
I'm not doing as good as you. I heard you got to hang out with a bunch of Gen Zs yesterday. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I was really honored. I got to lead a lunch and learn session for some incredible interns at an amazing ed tech company, Frenalytics. And it was really just a session that was rooted in asking them what currently they're using AI for, how could they be more productive at school, in the colleges they attend, as well as in their current internships, and then also thinking about their future career paths, how this could also help them. So yeah, it was a really interesting conversation. And just out of curiosity, how are your children? You have some Gen Z age children at home, or now they're abroad or all over the country and the world. How are they interpreting or engaging with AI right now?
A lot of different ways, but I'm actually needing to use AI a lot to actually be an interpreter for me. I actually am feeling super old this week. I got my first meme from one of my kids that I just fully did not understand, like at all. So I actually headed over to ChatGPT. They have a GPT in there called the Gen Z for meme, and it's basically a translator for people our age, Brett, where it then explains it to you in regular talk, why it's funny, and gives you some ideas on how you should respond so you sound cool. So nothing makes you feel less cool than that. But let's hit a few of the headlines for this week. I'll kick it off. This is one I've been waiting for. So Claude, and by a tech company called Anthropic. Claude is up there with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. Those are kind of my big three. The one thing that kind of had Claude trailing behind a teeny bit was that they were not connected to the internet, whereas Gemini and ChatGPT are. And so they finally announced this week that you can now search the internet live, answer your questions, get up to date information. Prior to that, I think the cutoff was like October of 2024. So now you can get more good information. Claude is actually a great chatbot. It's super conversational. The New York Times reported it's probably the most used by tech insiders in Silicon Valley. So you even get clickable citations now with this. So it'll be a great tool, I think, for teachers, educators, anyone who works in a professional capacity to help you fact check. And fact checking is kind of a big hot topic right now. Brett, you were mentioning before we started rolling here a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I finally am really engaging more with Sora. You've been sharing some links with me recently about some of the amazing new, video features that AI can generate now, and how it's really going to play a big role in what people now start to trust when they see news. And I was just sharing with you a quote I just saw where there might be actually some good in society if you actually start with the basis that I'm going to assume this is fake and let's figure out how to prove that it's actually real. But also, there's a lot of consequences if that becomes everyone's mental model as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword, that whole idea of do we go trust but verify or trust nothing and verify everything? And then what does that mean for relationships and how polarized we are if nobody trusts anyone anymore? And I think this kind of came up because ChatGPT launched a brand new image generator this week, or not even a brand new image generator, but a new version of it that is now kind of incorporated right within ChatGPT, a better version. And Google Gemini has released a pretty great image generator over the last couple of weeks. So everything is getting a little bit more realistic and harder to tell apart.
Yeah. And again, back to what I was talking recently, two things. One, I presented to a group of educators this week in New York City, and a lot of the things you're addressing now, I'm glad these things are happening, especially around being able to cite and getting real-time website information. Because I do think when that came out, that initial lag, when a lot of people were interacting with AI for the first time and it was able to pull data from the internet, but at a lag time, I think it really obviously turned some people off. Maybe they wanted to see it, what it does now, but there's still a healthy skepticism around AI and how it's generating its sources. And the fact that now we can explain to people that you can verify the sites, I think goes a long way to alleviating some of that fear about where is this getting this from. And if you really, that matters to you, you can actually do the research yourself immediately. So
And
that's
you
a,
should. And you should, because just because it cites a source doesn't mean that that source actually exists. So we have to be careful not to overtrust. And speaking of sources, cool thing our listeners might want to try out this week is Google's deep research feature that will write a research report for you and cite like 100 sources. They just actually made it free for everybody. So, for context, that $200 a month version of ChatGPT, this was a major feature in that, this idea of deep research, and now it's available to everyone for free. So I would strongly suggest people try that out. And you can also, they've kind of tied that into their Notebook LM feature. So you can generate this deep research report now and then instantly hit a button right within Gemini and turn it into a podcast style overview. And I actually tried this. I was in Oregon this week meeting with a group of educators, and we just kind of did it Mad Lib style. I said, let's write a research report. What should we write it about? And someone said moths, and someone said sushi. So I said, write a deep research report about moths and sushi. And it was actually phenomenal. Like all these different connections that you would never know. And then you can turn it into an audio overview. Where else would you find a podcast or any sort of audio overview about moths and sushi? I don't know. But now the opportunity is yours.
As an historical researcher, right, I wrote 2 thesis papers on, World War II and the impact of, you know, uh, Nazi Germany policies on specific subsections. It was so difficult to find some of that truly deep research or first-person accounts, especially as someone who is not a fluent reader in German. To think now how much more nuanced and accessible research could be at this point is it truly is mind-blowing to think if I was a current historical researcher, just what is available at my fingertips. Because at that point, it's whatever was available to you really framed how you thought about situation in history. So that is just incredible to think about current researchers and current college students, how they can access that. That's incredible.
What a time to be alive. Well, I think we have one more just quick highlight to kick it off. Brett, I think you've got this one, right?
Yeah. So one feature, right? And this is always the champagne problems of AI to me. It's like, I can't believe these AI tools can't do this yet, right? It's one of our favorite things to gripe about, considering how far we've come, as I just mentioned. But one of the interesting ones is there's the AI voice mode on ChatGPT. And I really love using that with my children, especially because it allows us not to have a screen in front of us, but to kind of have this, additional dynamic when we are trying to find fun games or do things like that. But it constantly cuts off my kids and they get so frustrated. And it seems like they've addressed that. It frustrates me too, but more it frustrates me because now I have to be like the hostage negotiator between my child and my AI tool on my phone. And so I really appreciate that they've changed that feature, and it seems like it's a lot more conversational and fluid, and I guess has a more of a wait time. So that's amazing and much needed.
I agree. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks to Brett for the Taylor Swift reference about champagne problems. We're wishing you all a great week with maybe a little Taylor Swift and a little extra ChatGPT voice mode this week. Have some fun.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Stay plugged in. Have a great day.